Welcome everyone to the Scituate Planning Board meeting of Thursday, December 3rd, 2020. For those of you that wish to participate, please go to the Planning Board website and obtain the agenda, and all of the necessary information is there so that you can join the meeting as well. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Ms. Barbine?
Yes.
This is going to confuse me. Mr. Bornstein?
Aye.
Ms. Lampert?
Aye.
Ms. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Pritchard?
Aye.
Mr. McLean?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, we now have a public meeting, site plan waiver for Widows Walk Golf Course, 250 Driftway. All right, the meeting materials can be found under the Planning Board webpage under current applications. Okay, who's making the presentation for this site plan waiver?
I am Brendan Sullivan, Kavanaugh Consulting.
All right, Brendan, go ahead then.
Okay, so as I said, Brendan Sullivan with Kavanaugh Consulting. Also here with Brian Dunkelberger, the architect from S. Curry Design out of Braintree, who's doing the architectural plans for the site. If I may share the screen so I can pull up the site plan?
Yep, just 1 second. I'm going to make you a co-host, okay?
Sure.
Okay.
So, as I'm sure all of you are aware of where the Widows Walk Golf Course is, it's approximately 120 acres. Approximately 97 of that is upland, consisting of an 18-hole golf course, restaurant, pro shop, and parking lot. What the applicant, the town, is proposing on doing is adding a foyer, additional restrooms, and increase the size of the dining room. There'll also be an additional deck that will be over the existing portion of the, just over the garage area in this area here. Where the existing deck now is over the foundation here, the proposed deck will be out over the existing parking area there. The new foyer, the new entrance will be on the southwesterly side of the building. The new bathroom is on the northwesterly side of the building. We're also proposing additional handicap access and handicap spaces. Just to also enlighten you, this plan has been updated since the one you have seen. In going through the bid documents, we realized a few of the inconsistencies with some of the plans between the architectural plans, the site plan, and the stormwater report. So those minor changes will be reflected on revised plans, and I can go through those as well. So when the original golf course was approved in 1995, there was proposed 155 parking spaces. As per your parking regulations, you need 1.6 spaces per acre of golf course. So that was based on the 97 acres times 1.6 equals 155 spaces. I'm sorry, the 95 submittal had 152 spaces. We are proposing approximately 156 spaces for the site. Basically redoing, and that will be done at a separate application. The parking lot, right now we're really just honing in on the building itself and the landscaping around it. So as I said, the new parking, the new accessible parking will be down along where it is today. It'll be just expanded a little bit more. Then we have an accessible walkway that goes up and around the front of the building and over up to the pro shop. The new entry will be serviced by a stairway here, and then also this is a porch out in front of the entryway, and then there's an accessible ramp from the deck that goes down, that meets this walkway, that eventually gets you to another entrance to the pro shop. So there, and we can go over the interiors as well, but there's going to be two entrances to the pro shop, and one to the restaurant and the main dining room on this side over here. So one of the main things that changed on here was the floodplain. I had it denoted wrong on the plan. It was notated as 15. It's actually elevation 16. And what if I can. So let me see here. So if everybody can see that, this is actually the floodplain as shown on the FEMA map. Can anybody see that?
No, it's not coming in.
It's just your file.
Oh, all right.
Double click.
How about that? No?
Nope,
Okay. Are we back to the plan?
nope.
Nope.
Now we're back to you.
Oh, Mr.
Yeah.
Sullivan.
All right. I'll go back to here. How about
Okay.
All
that?
right, great.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay. So the existing floodplain graphically shown comes down around in here somewhere, which is down around where about elevation 15 is. So that kind of made sense to me. But in actuality, the floodplain is 16, and the basement floor, the garage area that goes under the building is actually elevation 15.6. So the basement is into the floodplain by 4/10. We are going to make it flood compliant. Whether we put a berm in front or we have flood vents or something, we're gonna make the building flood compliant. We have done both soil tests. We have done both borings and test pits with the backhoe in the front of the building, the rear of the building, and in the parking lot to get an idea of what the soil strata is doing out there. Most if not all of it is sand. We did hit some groundwater way down the bottom of the parking lot, probably down at elevation probably 5 or 6 or so. The infiltration systems that have been modified with respect to the requirements in the Water Resource Protection District, providing pre-treatment, separation of groundwater, etc. And those will be updated on the plan as well. They are updated with additional notes providing fabric in the bottom of the stone, fabric inside the chambers, and the note saying that there's going to be 3 feet of separation in the groundwater. The septic system has been inspected in the past, and the original design was actually over-designed for the site, for the number of seats in the restaurant, and with the proposed seating, the Board of Health has approved the plan. The ADA parking, as I said, has been changed as shown, and met some additional requirements for spacing between some of the parking spaces as well. And as I said, minor discrepancies between the site plan and the actual textual plans and the stormwater will be revised, and they're all, I believe, minor in nature. So if I could, I would turn it over to Brian, and we can go over the architectural plans, if I can hopefully get those up. Can everybody see the architectural plans?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay, great.
Thanks, Brendan.
All right. Brian, you
Everybody
want
hear
to
me?
talk about some of the interior?
Yep. Can everybody hear me?
yes.
Okay, great. So as Brendan mentioned, this is the southwest side of the building. We've got stairs coming up. We got a lobby, and then from that entry vestibule area, we've got an entrance into the pro shop and an entrance into the new restaurant area. The pro shop pretty much stays how it is. We're just reworking the door to make it straight on center and we're moving the desk over to be more on center so that it gives kind of some retail area on the side, left and right, but allows golfers to come in, check in quickly, move back out if they want to. The restaurant side, we reworked a little bit of the Golf Pros office and storage right there off of that for functional stuff. And then on the restaurant side, we did increase, one of the things that we were trying to tackle in the renovation was taking care of the kitchen and making it more attractive to an outside vendor. So we increased it a little bit. We kept some of the stuff where it was. We increased it. We reworked it to be more functional. That pulls the wall between, you slide over there to the right a little bit, Brendan, that wall more into the seating area where the existing bar area is. So we took some of that away, but then we added a new bar out on the eastern side so that the patrons would be able to look out windows down the river and out onto the deck. So we added that area where the bar is. And if you're familiar with the location, that's the outdoor patio right now. That's actually part of the foundation. So we're able to enclose it with enclosed space. And then we're gonna, to the east of that, we're gonna build a deck that allows for some outdoor seating, get you kind of a little higher out of the parking lot to look to the, out to the river and capture that view. On the back side of the building, we moved the toilets out there. One of the things, we put an little addition out there with toilets. One of the goals was so that golfers coming off the ninth hole could jump in, use the restrooms and go back out without having to go through the whole restaurant area. And then we put just cleaned up those stairs on the back since they're a little rickety, new stairs. And that's really the extent of what we're doing. Anybody have any questions?
I'll turn it over to Karen at this moment.
All right, so they have applied for a site plan waiver. A site plan waiver, the planning board has to decide if the proposed work, site work or building work is minor or insignificant in nature of effect. The proposed building use is not changing and the proposed property use is not changing. The clubhouse is an accessory use to the golf course, which, as Brendan said, was permitted in 1995 with 3 special permits. Had a plan development district special permit, a site plan special permit, and a water resource protection special permit. The parking, they have indicated that they would like to.
We lost you, Karen.
Yeah, where'd you go? Yeah.
Here, we have a comment letter from the Board of Health that the septic system has been inspected and there is plenty.
Aaron, we lost you there.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna take a second and figure this one out,
Okay.
okay?
It wouldn't be a Zoom meeting without technology glitch.
Oh, please. Think we'll ever get back to in person?
No.
We can only hope.
Anything. Can I ask a question while we're
You
waiting?
certainly may, yes.
Is there a ramp anywhere, like a wheelchair ramp?
Yes.
Yeah, if you
I just
zip,
can't see it.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'll
so
point out to you. Can you go back to the plan?
She asked a question.
There you go. So what Brendan pointed out with the slope, kind of, we're using the grade to get up to a point near the back of where the existing pro shop is. And if you go over there to the right side, so right, come down a little bit, come down, right there. So there's a ramp that comes up off that grade that gets us up to the front porch.
Right.
So handicap person can get from the parking lot, they come up the grade through the walkway, they get to that ramp, they get to the front door, and then they can make a decision to go to the pro shop or to the restaurant.
Okay, thank you. That's great. I figured there was. I couldn't see it though.
Karen, do you want to continue?
All right, so I don't know what you missed or what you didn't miss. I said that basically the use of the public building and the property will not change. The board has to decide if the nature of effect of the changes are significant or insignificant. We have heard from the Board of Health that there's plenty of capacity in the septic system. The clubhouse is an accessory use to the golf course, which all received 3 different special permits back in 1995. That's kind of basically a summary of what I said.
Okay, great.
Karen, could I ask a question here? The 3 special permits that you speak of, the changes that are proposed here don't change anything in those special permits? Or don't basically not comply with anything in those special permits?
No, I mean, there was always anticipated renovations to the clubhouse. And ideally, it would have been done. The special permit kind of always says it was supposed to be done in the first 3 years.
Right.
That was never done. But it was anticipated that there were supposed to be renovations.
Okay,
As
thank
a-
you.
Clubhouse is
Steve, I sat in on and was part of that permitting process. And one of the things that we were told specifically that after 3 years, we would have a much larger, bigger function hall, et cetera. And so here we are 25 years out, and this is far better than what is there now. It's not what I think years ago we had envisioned, but it's better than not.
No, well, I'm just asking the question whether there's any material change to the special permits, and it doesn't sound like there is.
No. Okay.
I don't think so.
All right. Anyone else on the board have a comment?
No, thank you.
Could you, is this comments to the proponent here? Is that what you're asking, Ann?
Yes.
I do have a follow-up question. And Karen may have started to allude to it, then we lost her, but there was a comment about the parking lot being pursued somehow under a different application. I don't know that I quite understood what that meant. I wonder if you could expand on that.
The parking lot is going, well, the applicant can
Yeah.
answer that question.
Right, so
Right.
that was actually going to be one of my follow-up questions, was that, so the parking lot, if we keep the spaces, so from what I understand is that if you increase the spaces by 5 spaces, actually the required 5 spaces, which the requirement's not going to change, we still have 1.6 spaces per 97 acres, which comes out to 155 spaces. We are proposing 156. So from what I understand is that your site plan review is triggered once you increase the number of spaces by 5 or more. So it'd be my understanding that if we didn't increase the spaces by 5 or more, we could just repave and stripe the existing parking lot without site plan review. We do have to go to conservation because we're in their jurisdiction for the floodplain.
Okay,
So-
Steve, are you all set?
So you're saying you have to file at Concom for the
Yes,
paving work,
For the parking lot, yeah,
for the paving work though,
yes,
is that what you're saying?
yeah.
Okay. And the paving was always contemplated in the special permit?
Yes, the paving was always in the special permit, and I guess there was drainage in the special permit as well, and landscaping. They were originally contemplated in this special permit.
So does the paving of the parking lot change the stormwater drainage?
Not existing, no. Part of it is paved, other part of it is a hard packed gravel. It's millings from an existing paving job. Basically, when you roll that out, it's pretty much acts like pavement. So most of it is, the parking lot's half hard packed gravel and half pavement. So the drainage characteristics are not going to change from what's there today. Other than we are proposing to close one of the entrances and only have one entrance exit for the parking lot.
All right. Anyone else? All right, we'll do quick Q&A.
So if you have a question or a comment, please, you can raise your hand. Or if you're on the telephone, you can hit *9. I don't see any questions or comments.
Okay. All right. So I have the suggested motion here, people.
Okay.
Were there comments? I didn't hear any comments.
There were no
comments?
there were no comments.
Okay.
All right. Move that the planning board finds the proposed building work of improving the clubhouse by expanding the footprint to provide a new entrance foyer, additional restrooms, and expanding the size of the dining room over the existing deck and adding a new deck and site work of 2 underground infiltration beds, landscaping, adding an accessible walkway with a slope of less than 5%, grading for the proposed building additions, and adding a bag drop area is minor in nature of effect as the use of the public building and property will not change. The proposed modifications to the structure will increase the foundation footprint by 24%. The proposed walkways and handicap ramps will provide improved access to the existing structure. No change to the parking lot are proposed at this time. Okay. Move to grant the site plan waiver for the town of Scituate for the improvements to the clubhouse at Widows Walk Golf Course at 250 the Driftway with the following conditions. 1, construction shall comply with the improvements shown on the plans entitled Site Plan Widows Walk Golf Course Scituate, Mass. 02066 by Canavaro Consulting dated 11/3/20 and actual architectural plans entitled Widows Walk Renovation A102 First Floor Plan and A201 and A202 Exterior Elevations by S3 Design Inc. dated 10/26/2020, submitted with the application. 2, the approval is contingent upon all local approvals being obtained from the town of Scituate. 3, the board waives the application fee of $100 for the town entity. Is there a second for discussion?
Second.
Further discussion?
Yes, Anne?
Yes.
I think that we also need to say, we have some plans dated 11/3/20 with revisions through 12/3/20.
So that would be number 4, revision?
No, just go back in number 1
Yep,
and say, by the construction comply with the improvements shown on the plans, blah, blah, by Cavanaro dated 11/3/20 with revisions through 12/3/20.
okay. All right, is there a second as amended?
Second.
Further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Ms. Barbine,
Yes.
Mr. Bornstein, Mr. Bornstein,
Aye.
Mr. Pritchard,
Yes.
Ms. Lampert,
Aye.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
unanimous, all in favor. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a deal.
Thank you,
Okay,
guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, can you just make sure that you leave the meeting and not end the meeting? Anyone that's on right now as a co-host, that would be great.
Thank you all.
I'll try.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, here we are.
all right, our next item is a continued public hearing. We have 4 minutes until that starts.
Do you want to do
Minutes?
minutes and accounting? Patty?
Hold on, okay. I move to approve the meeting minutes for November 3, 2020 and November 12th, 2020.
Is there a second?
Second.
Ms.
All in favor?
Ms. Burbine?
Aye.
Ms. Lampert?
Aye.
Mr. Bornstein?
Aye.
Mr. Pritchard?
Aye.
Ms. Lewis?
Aye.
Thank you, unanimous, all in favor.
All right, Patty, bills?
I move to approve the requisition of $890 to Horsley Witten for the peer review services of Seaside and Scituate, for $750 to Merrill Corporation for the peer review services of Deer Common, for $3,134.50 to Harriman Associates for consulting services on the master plan, for $525 to Merrill Corporation for peer review services of the Benjamin Studley Farm, and for $36.31 to WB Mason for office supplies.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Ms. Burbine?
Yes.
Mr. Pritchard?
Yes.
Mr. Bornstein?
Yes.
Ms. Lampert?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
Yes.
Thank you, unanimous, all in favor.
All right, why don't we get the people that are coming on set up for 18 Ford Place? Okay, who's with us?
Hold on just one moment.
All right, do we have whoever we need?
We have them on the line. I think they're just away from their computers at the moment. Mr. Galvin should be logging on.
McGill is here.
Mr. McGill is here. There's Mr. Galvin is here.
Okay,
And Mr. Seberg is here.
Over.
okay, we're getting feedback from somewhere. Okay, so we'll start. At the last meeting, left the need to decide the public benefit. Contribution to the Affordable Housing Trust is not,
Will you accept your admissions? I already accepted.
excuse
This
me,
is all other stuff.
Okay.
Don't even apply.
But
Don't
you're
apply for
responsible for
credits.
18, you gotta get back to me, because I don't have.
We hear someone's family in the
On
background
TV, yeah.
or a television.
are we all set?
That's better.
That's better, yeah.
Thank you. Okay, contribution to the Affordable Housing Trust is not an option. The board cannot bind Affordable Housing Trust and must be an affordable unit. And we have 2 options: $25,000 contribution to fund for pedestrian and traffic improvements in the greater Greenbush area, and the applicant offers to grade the entrance to the path at the Duncan Park to be handicapped accessible, or improvements to Town Park adjacent to Duncan as details on the submitted plan. All right. Gentlemen, Mr. Galvin or Mr. McGill, do you have anything further that you wish to add to this?
Bob, are you
I'm happy to do either. Whatever the board feels that would benefit the town more.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right, how does the board feel? Which would you prefer? Steve? Steve?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Are you,
I'm asking you
what was
which,
the question?
the question is, would you prefer the $25,000 contribution towards sidewalks and pedestrian access or the town park?
Where would the sidewalk and
It would-
pedestrian access be?
It would go toward funding the sidewalk from Huey Road to Greenbush on Country Way.
Actually,
And
Ann,
does that
it would be put into a fund. The
Right,
fund is Drew, and condition for 14 to 16 Old Country Way. And the town has been trying to get complete streets funding for that sidewalk from Country Way, from Huey down into that. And perhaps if money was in this fund, and maybe the state would be more inclined to, give us some complete streets funding. That particular sidewalk would tie basically North Scituate to the harbor through Greenbush. So it just would go into a fund at the moment earmarked for the sidewalk and traffic and pedestrian improvements in Greater Greenbush, because the money has to be used in Greater Greenbush.
And Greater Greenbush is the Greenbush sort of business district?
well, Greenbush is more encompassing than just the business district, Steve. It goes
Well,
up
I'm
over,
talking about, there's a definition for that encompasses, that has a limit to it.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean.
I'm saying there's a definition to Greater Greenbush that has finite boundaries to it.
You haven't
Yes.
put any boundaries on it. You just said in the past two other permits, Greater Greenbush. So I would consider Greenbush going all the way down to Widow's Walk. And, it goes up quite a bit, on Country Way and, by the Rotary. I mean, you might say pretty much where the VCN district is.
Okay.
Okay,
And
Patty?
just to, Karen, if we put money into this fund, what's the likelihood it will be deployed in the next year or so? Couple of years?
I'd say there's a strong possibility with multiple projects coming in and the need for sidewalks that aren't currently there. I'd say there's a high probability that, you're going to get a sidewalk.
Steve, are you all set?
Yeah, I'll wait to hear everybody else.
Okay. Patty?
I'm in favor of the money as opposed to donating for one particular piece of property, because we don't know that will be kept up.
Rebecca?
I would also go with the money.
Ben?
Believe it or not, after thinking about this a lot, I'm actually more in favor of a specific project to be earmarked. I just really worry about funds that are kind of left up to the town, particularly when there's an indefinite amount of time and an undefined project that those funds are going towards at this time. I worry about things getting stuck in limbo and time going forward. So I think my interpretation of the bylaws that we pass for Greenbush for the public benefit would be that it goes towards a specific project. That being said, I understand we're kind of in between a rock and a hard place in the sense that the applicant has been very willing to do this, but kind of there hasn't been a lot of great projects that kind of rose to the top and they didn't get a lot of direction from the town. So we've kind of had to make do with what we could. And I think that it's a decent proposal, but I don't think anyone's super happy about it. So that being said, I prefer the more specific project like the park improvements. However, given the nature of the situation, I could go along with the funding if that's the direction the rest of the board feels.
Okay. Ben, I'd like you to know that the money that is going to go into this fund will be, the planning board will have input, the planning director, if we ever get one, the town planner, as well as the town administrator. So it's not something that's just sort of going into no man's land. There will be oversight on this money, as opposed to the park, which I understand your point of view. However, there's nothing here for maintenance, and within 2 years, it could be back to the way it is right now. So I, for one, am in favor of the money. Bill, do you have anything that you'd like to say? Bob McLean?
I'll go with what the board says. I like what Ben said, but I will go with how the majority of the board goes.
Okay.
Can I add one other thing? With that money option, I also offered to regrade the ramp going into the path to make it handicap accessible. Although that doesn't incorporate all the other work in the park area, it will add some benefit to that area, and that goes along with the money option.
Okay.
Could I say something too?
Certainly.
So the way that Complete Streets program, if you're not familiar, is you get up to $50,000 in technical assistance to develop your plan, which you have to adopt. And then in the first round of Complete Streets funding, you're eligible to up to $400,000. And based on the scoring system, because I've been involved in past applications of this nature, the more specific of a project you have, and the higher it's graded and the better it gets rated when it comes down to the state making a decision on this. So if you have a specific project and you have money set aside for it, it actually increases your probability of getting Complete Streets money.
Also, I might add that the engineering for that sidewalk has already been completed. They're just waiting for the money to get it done. Okay. All right. Are there any comments concerning this application? Karen, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I don't have anything else I want to add at the moment. I mean, we have a draft decision. I don't know if you want to take public comment before we start going into the draft decision.
All right, I'll take public comment now.
So for public comment, please raise your hand, or if you're on the telephone, please hit *9.
Does it look like there's anybody here?
It does not look like that we have anyone looking to make any particular comments at this time.
Okay. All right. We'll go forward then with special permit in the Village Center and Neighborhood District, VCN 18, Fort Place. Okay. I move to make the following findings of fact. 1, on May 12, 2020, the applicant, Don McGill, filed an application for a site plan review and special permit under Scituate zoning bylaw, section 580.4 and section 760.8 D2, and site plan review under Scituate zoning bylaw, section 770. The application included but is not limited to the following. A, application form, locus deed, proof of paid real estate taxes, and narrative demonstrating compliance with bylaw section 770.6. B, filing fees and abutters list. C, site plan, assessor's lot 53-05-22, 18 Ford Place, Scituate, Mass, dated April 29th, 2020 by Grady Consulting LLC, consisting of 10 sheets. D, architectural plans for new construction, 5-unit condominium building, 18 Ford Place, Scituate, Mass, dated 5/7/20 by SDA, consisting of 5 sheets. E, stormwater permit application and stormwater design calculations with operation and maintenance plan and site plans, see above. 2, the property is the subject of the application is a 10,000 square foot plus or minus parcel located at the corner of Ford Place, a public way, and McDonald Terrace, a private way, in Scituate, Massachusetts. The property is currently improved with an existing single-family dwelling, existing detached garage, and existing bituminous concrete driveway off of Ford Place. 3, the project is located in the New Village Center and Neighborhood VCN zoning district, Greenbush, Driftway, Gateway District, GDG, and the Greenbush Village Center Subdistrict, GVC-VCN-GDG-GVC. 4, the project proposed by the applicant consists of a multifamily building, MFB, with 5 residential condominium units. The residential units each have 2 bedrooms, each for a total of 10 bedrooms. 8 parking spaces for the units are proposed. A driveway is proposed on the applicant's property. However, a shared access driveway with 6 McDonald Terrace is desired as an alternative should 6 McDonald Terrace receive a special permit modification. The applicant has submitted a proposed plan depicting the easement area for a shared access driveway and a draft easement agreement. The board approves or does not approve?
Approve.
Okay, the conceptual shared access driveway. If the applicant is able to reach an agreement with the abutter and the concurrence on the final easement agreement, the applicant's plan and easement agreement may be approved by the planning board without further public hearing for this project. 5, 8 parking spaces for the units are proposed, with 7 being located on the parking surface under the building overhang and 1 off a driveway on Ford Place. Parking is proposed per section 760.8 of the Scituate zoning bylaw for parking in mixed-use districts, table 2, with 1.5 spaces for a 2-bedroom unit in a multifamily building as the site is in the VCN district. 7.5 parking spaces are required and 8 are provided. No shared parking, off-street parking, or stacked. Valet and tandem parking are proposed. None of that is proposed. Section 760.7 does not apply as the site is proposed for residential use in the VCN. 6, the property of 18 Ford Place does not include a requirement for a pedestrian frontage overlay zoning per section 580.2 of the zoning bylaw. 7, the VCN, GDG, GVC, a multifamily building is an allowed use per section 580.3 of the zoning bylaw and an allowed building type per section 750 of the zoning bylaw. The base residential density in the GDG-GVC subdistrict per section 580.4 of the zoning bylaw for a multifamily building is 12 units per acre by right and 25 24 units per acre by special permit. 2 units are allowed by right, and up to 5 units are allowed by special permit. For this project, excuse me 1 second, Sherry, could you go out and tell them to stop, please? Thank you. Allowed by right, if sufficient public realm improvements are made by the applicant that will provide benefits to residents and businesses in the including on-site and or off-site infrastructure improvements, streetscape improvements, open space improvements, amenities not otherwise required under section 752, public parking spaces or additional affordable units beyond the number required for the development. The applicant has proposed to provide physical improvements to the park on Driftway, owned by the town of Scituate, adjacent to Dunkin' Donuts, as shown on the proposed design. The improvements include.
And
And you should read the second part, I think.
it sounds like you guys.
Okay. Or the base residential density, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we'll get down to the applicant proposes to provide a contribution of $25,000 to fund traffic and pedestrian improvements in the greater Greenbush area. The applicant shall provide such funds to the town prior to commencement of construction. The funds shall be placed in an interest-bearing account with the expenditure of funds for this said purpose approved by the town administrator after consultation with town planner, director of planning and development, DPW director, and planning board, all of whom must concur. Additionally, the applicant has offered, and the board has agreed to accept the applicant's offer to grade the entrance to the park at the park owned by the town of Scituate, adjacent to Dunkin' Donuts, so that the drop to the path is eliminated and the path is more handicapped accessible. 9, section 580.4 also has minimum bulk standards for dwelling sizes. A 2-bedroom unit is required to have 900 square feet of usable floor area. Units 1 and 2 have 1,375 square feet. Units 3 and 4 have 1,400 square feet, and Unit 5 has 1,600 square feet. There are less than 24 units in the building. This requirement is met. 10, no public realm standards or affordable housing requirements are required for this development. 11, the applicant met with the Design Review Committee, DRC, and the Planning Department staff to review whether the proposed project meets the design review standards of section 580 and 750 under Scituate zoning bylaw section 750. The 3-member design review committee is charged with making recommendations to the planning board on building and site design. The following discussions with DRC and planning staff, the applicant modified its original architectural plans to address compatibility of the site features such as roof lines and parking with the building and its abutting properties. Based on the changes and is shown on the updated architectural renderings dated 10/8/20, the proposed project meets the design review standards of section 580 and 750, see below, as the mass of the building is not proportionally out of scale with the neighborhood, and public realm improvement density bonus is required for the project as it exceeds its by right density and is seeking a special permit for the maximum allowable density. Patty, can you start with number 12?
Sure. An MFB includes lot standards found in section 750.5 and 6, including a minimum lot size is not required, street frontage of 80 feet is required, there is 100 feet of frontage on both Ford Place and McDonald Terrace. The front yard build to zone setback is 10 feet minimum and 30 feet maximum. 10 feet is provided on both Ford Place and McDonald Terrace. The minimum side yard is 15 feet and 15 feet is provided. The minimum rear yard is 20 feet and 20 feet is provided. Outdoor amenity space coverage required is 20% of the lot. 21% is provided. The permitted outdoor amenity space is per section 752 of the bylaw is a common yard and garden with a patio, stone patio. This has changed from a pervious paver in a previous submission. The patio is separated from the parking by a garden trellis and some planting. There are 2 bunches shown for the patio. The requirement is met. More than one principal building is allowed on a lot, not applicable as one building is proposed. The building meets the setback and step back standards of a maximum of 25 feet for 0 to 25 feet from the right-of-way line. The building articulation standards have been met with buildings greater than 50 feet in width, designed to read as a series of smaller buildings with varied articulation. Horizontal modulation and articulation is not required as the building is less than 3 stories. Facade transparency is required for multi-family buildings. Windows shall be evenly spaced along the facade. Windows shall be low reflectivity glass. The facade glazing shall fall between 2 and 12 feet. The project meets this requirement with window spacing, facade glazing occurring between 3 feet 2 inches and 8 feet. Low reflectivity glass is proposed. The only roof pitches which meet the criteria of 6 to 12 minimum and 12 to 12 maximum are the dormers for the asphalt shingle gable roof. The standard is met. Exterior treatments will be provided. Exterior treatments will be synthetic materials intended to provide the look and character of a traditional building materials, i.e. cedar shakes. The windows will be operable. Architectural elements are continued from the front to the side. The proposed building has textures and patterns. 13, a multifamily building includes building design standards found in section 750.6, including the building height will conform to the height regulations set forth for a multifamily building at 26 feet to the top of the ridge, which is less than 4 stories, and 40 feet with the height measured from the average ground level to the average height between the eave and the ridge for a building with a pitched roof. The minimum street facing wall width is 60 feet and the maximum is 100 feet. 73.4 feet has been provided along Ford Place and 78.167 feet has been provided along McDonald Terrace. A street facing entrance is required and one is located on Ford Place. A maximum building footprint is not applicable. 14, the development site standards include in section 750.8. The development site consists of 1 building. The development site does not include any existing or proposed right-of-way. A multi-family building is a permitted building type in this district. A minimum of 50 feet of frontage on a public or publicly accessible street providing access to the development is provided. Development block standards are not applicable. Site landscaping is provided. Existing trees are not preserved as they are in poor condition and are of an invasive species. Plantings are arranged to not obscure the vision of traffic. Parking must be located a minimum of 5 feet behind the front facade. The project meets this requirement. A street screen shall be required where parking is visible from a public street or a sidewalk. The parking space from Ford Place is not screened. The planning board agrees or does not agree to waive this provision.
I agree.
Agree.
Okay. The parking area is not visible from McDonald Terrace as a building wall and lattice screen the parking. A driveway servicing the site is shown off McDonald Terrace. It is proposed as 20 feet wide. A shared driveway is desired with 6 McDonald Terrace, but no common driveway easement document has been provided. New public utilities are proposed underground. Trash storage areas viewable from McDonald Terrace and Ford Place are screened with a 6-foot wooden stockade fence with gates.
Okay, I'll pick up at 15.
Okay.
Sustainable site design is required at the VCN district per section 751 of the zoning bylaw. Stormwater management shall conform to best management practices described in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Stormwater Management Handbook. Pre-development hydrology is maintained by infiltrating, storing, and detaining water in underground leaching chambers. The post-construction peak rate and volume runoff is not exceeded for the 1, 2, 10, 25, and 100-year 24-hour rain events. Storm water best management practices are required. Minimization of impervious surfaces is partially provided by providing only the required parking. However, the project maximizes the development of the lot with building and parking. Impervious payment is provided for the walk, and the board's consulting engineer has stated changing from pervious to impervious would not impact the stormwater peak rates. Subsurface retention facilities have been provided. 16, a landscape plan shall be required for all submissions except where waived by the planning board. To the greatest extent possible, native plants shall be maintained, and no plants listed as invasive or prohibited by Massachusetts shall be used. Existing invasive plants shall be removed. A landscape plan has been provided. Existing invasive and prohibited Norway maple trees are proposed to be removed. Native landscaping is reasonably proposed. Lawn area in the front yard is minimized and fertilizer use is discouraged. The front yard consists of a pervious paver walk. This requirement has been met. 17, Scituate zoning bylaw, section 770.6, sets forth the standard of review for approval of proposed site plans, which are required for the proposed developments, which are of a size that may have significant impacts on neighborhoods. A multifamily building requires a site plan reviewed by the planning board. 18, section 770.6, a site plan approval, standard A, protection of adjoining premises against detrimental and offensive methods of utilizing the site. The site is currently a residential use and is proposed to be the same. Section 770.6B, site plan approval, standard B, traffic safety and ease of access at street and highway entrances and exits of driveways, taking account of traffic volume, grades, site distances between the driveway entrances, exits, and the nearest existing street or highway, and times of peak traffic flow. Finding, the site is located at the corner of Ford Place and McDonald Terrace. The project will consist of one multifamily building with 5 two-bedroom units. The proposed development will have its own separate off-street parking, meeting the requirements of section 750.8. Access for one parking space will be from Ford Place. The access for the remainder of the parking and development will be from McDonald Terrace, a private way. The owner has the right to use McDonald Terrace for access and utilities. There is currently minimal traffic volume on the existing streets, level grades, and the applicant maintains adequate site distance. Driveways within 100 feet of the site have not all been shown. This standard is met. 20, section 770.6B, site plan approval, standard C, safety and adequacy of driveway, layout, pedestrian safety, off-street parking and loading zones, minimizing glare from headlights and light intrusion, sufficiency of access for service vehicles such as electricity, gas, fuel, telephone, laundry, rubbish removal, water, sewer, fire, police, ambulance, or other routine or emergency vehicles. Finding, the proposed development will have its own separate off-street parking, meeting the requirements of 750.8. Access will be from Ford Place and McDonald Terrace. The main access of McDonald Terrace is 20 feet wide. The site, as proposed, will have sufficient access for service vehicles. 21, section 770.6D, site plan approval, standard D, adequacy of the methods of disposal for sewage, refuse, and other waste resulting from uses permitted on the site, safety and adequacy of water supply and distribution, and of firefighting facilities on site. Finding, the project proposes to connect to the existing sewer service for 18 Ford Place and connect to the water main located on McDonald Terrace. There are currently 5 hydrants located within 100 feet of the site on Ford Place and McDonald Terrace. The DPW sewer division has indicated that the sewer line at this location has sufficient capacity and the wastewater treatment plant has limited capacity at this time. The water division indicated that existing service to the property will need to be terminated and a new service provided. They recommend individually metered units. 22, section 770.6E, Site plan approval, standard E. Adequacy of surface and stormwater drainage and snow melt runoff within and from the site, including but not limited to all walkways, driveways, buildings, parking, and loading areas. Finding the proposed project consists of a subsurface galley infiltration system to attenuate runoff from the proposed building and driveways. The site is not located within the Water Resource Protection District. Snow storage areas are not provided and will not occur on the site due to limited space. The board engaged Chesia Consulting Services, LLC, Chesia, to evaluate the adequacy and accuracy of Grady Consulting, LLC's stormwater report and data, as well as the efficacy and adequacy of the design. Chesia submitted detailed written comments to the planning board. In response to these comments, the applicant and Grady provided responses. Revised reports were requested and updated the site plans. After further review by Chesia, the applicant was determined to have adequately addressed his comments and recommendations if the stormwater management system is built as designed. The applicant has submitted a stormwater management plan and operation and maintenance plan that ensures that the project will be maintained appropriately before and after completion of construction. The applicant has submitted an erosion and sediment control plan that has been reviewed by the board's peer review consultant. The review of the stormwater management system by the planning board's consulting engineer and their approval of the special permit eliminates the requirement for a separate stormwater permit under the Stormwater General Bylaw and its regulations for any work that conforms to the plans. Kevin S. Grady, PE, has certified that the drainage system will result in post-development runoff characteristics, including peak, flow, total volume of runoff, and water quality runoff to be equal or less pre-development runoff than pre-development runoff characteristics. This requirement is met. 23, section 770.6F, site plan approval, standard F, finding not applicable as the site is not in the Water Resource Protection District. 24, section 770.6 G, site plan approval, standard G, minimizing the volume of cut and fill and the number of trees of 6-inch caliber or greater removed, the length of stone walls removed, soil erosion and destruction of other natural features. Finding, the proposed site is 10,000 square feet and minor grade changes are proposed. Therefore, there is minimal cut and fill. Approximately 6 trees greater than 6-inch caliber are to be removed. Several of the existing trees to be removed are Norway maples, an invasive and prohibited tree in Massachusetts. 25, section 770.6H, site plan approval, standard H, minimize obstruction of scenic views from public accessible locations. Finding, the site does not consist of any scenic views from publicly accessible locations, and therefore the applicant complies with this requirement. Patty, can you pick up at 26? Patty? She's muted.
Got mute.
You gotta unmute.
Hold on. Okay. 776.1I, site plan approval standard. Parking areas shall be adequately buffered and shaded using native vegetation. Parking lots with 10 or more spaces shall be planted with at least 1 shade tree per 10 spaces of a caliber of at least 2.5 inches DBH, with each tree providing shade to the parking area. Parking areas of visually degrading elements such as dumpsters or loading docks shall be designed to minimize visual intrusion from public ways in residentially owned or zoned areas. In addition, suitable screening of such areas by wood fences and dense native evergreen hedges of 5 feet or more at time of planting shall be utilized. The use of chain link fences shall be avoided except in industrial areas. Outdoor lighting, including lighting on the exterior of a building or lighting in a parking area, shall be arranged to minimize the glare and light spillover to neighboring properties. No outdoor light shall be located more than 20 feet above the ground. The findings, the project consists of 2 residential driveways with the majority of parking underneath a portion of the proposed structure to the rear of the property and not visible from the street. Shade trees are proposed throughout the site. There is currently street lighting on Ford Place. The main parking area is buffered from abutting properties by the building and lattice work, thereby meeting the requirements of the bylaw. 27, section 77.6.J, site plan approval standard J. Safe, functional, and convenient pedestrian, bicycle, and where practical transit access and continuity of the pedestrian and bicycle network within the property into nearby pedestrian and bicycle facilities and trip generators. The finding is that the surrounding area provides safe, functional, and convenient pedestrian access. There is a sidewalk located on Ford Place giving access to a post office across the street from the project site. There is also a public walkway to the Greenbush train station. There is or is not a bike rack. There is a bike rack on the site, correct?
I don't believe there was.
Okay. There is not a bike rack on the site. Based on these findings, the planning board finds the site plan review and Village Center and Neighborhood District special permit meets the requirements under the Village Center and Neighborhood District section 580 and 750, as the project will be in harmony with the general purposes of this bylaw and the requirements of the Mass General Law 40A, and it will not have a greater detrimental impact on the neighborhood than a conventional residential development plan and is designed with consideration for health and safety. Decision, based on the findings of fact. Oh, no, it stopped. Okay, never
We
mind.
gotta stop here.
Okay.
It goes on and on. Mhm.
So do you want to have someone second it?
I can hear you.
All right, can I make a couple corrections, please?
Yes, yes.
I'm going back to number 16. That should be impervious paver walk. I missed that when the walkway changed. So that's an impervious paver walkway there. And going back to 14, the third to the last bullet, it says no common driveway easement document has been provided. It should say a draft common driveway easement document has been provided.
Okay.
Couple of
Steve?
other things. Yeah, just a couple other things. Just, Karen, you could correct this, I think, just in redrafting it. Just on item 1, we say the applicant, Don McGill, filed an application. And I think we want to define the applicant as Don McGill and any successors, right?
That's a condition. That's a condition.
Okay. Then, so you've defined the applicant in the condition?
In the conditions, condition 4, the applicant shall mean the current applicant and all successors in interest.
Okay. So then, and that's where you defined it. All right. Usually you want to do that at the beginning, but I think we can live with that. And hold on a sec. I just wanted to get to, I made a couple other notes. So on 12, the second to last bullet, I'm not sure I heard what we said there. I think that this should state that the standard is not met. Is that right? Wasn't sure whether we said one of these.
I believe you are correct, Steve.
Yeah.
Because the only roof pitches which meets the criteria are the dormers.
Yeah, we don't want to set that as sort of a standard that you come in with dormers and that meets the standard, right? So I just think we want this to say the standard is not met.
Okay.
there's just that you'll do a spell check. There's a couple of places where we have publicly spelled incorrectly, but
Okay, I'll note that.
That might be. Okay. Sorry, I'm paging through my notes here. Yes. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Anyone else?
And I have one point on number 12, which was on page 5. It was talking about the patio, stone patio. It's just an extra word patio there.
Yeah.
We just want to make sure it really is a patio.
Yeah,
But
no,
it's
I
not
just,
really
I
an
started.
extra word. It's not really an extra word. They call it as a patio stone. That the drawings say patio stone, and so it's a patio stone patio. It's not a stone patio.
Okay,
I'll
then
do a
maybe-
hyphenation then.
or a comma
Okay.
after patio
Patios.
stone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
sorry about that, Karen.
Okay, anything else, people, before we move on? All right.
So do you need to second that as
Second
amended?
as amended.
All
Steve,
those-
you're seconding that as amended.
Yes, I will second it as amended.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Ms. Barbine,
Aye.
Ms. Lambert,
Aye.
Mr. Bornstein,
Aye.
Mr. Pritchard,
Aye.
Ms. Lewis. Ms. Lewis,
Oh, aye, no.
thank you. No, now we can.
All right, so,
Thank you. It's unanimous, all in favor.
and we move on to general requirements.
That was the, yeah, that was the finding of facts, right?
Yep. Okay, general requirements.
We have to read the decision part.
Based on the findings of fact and testimony provided at the public hearing, the planning board approves the site plan review and special permit in the Village Center and Neighborhood District for 18 Ford Place on December 3rd, 2020, with the following conditions. General requirements. 1, all construction work shall be done in accordance with 1, the plan submitted by Grady Consulting LLC entitled Site Plan Successors Lot 53-05-22, 18 Ford Place, Scituate, Massachusetts, consisting of 8 sheets dated 4/29/19, with revisions of 7/6/20, 8/11/20, 8/25/20, and 9/21/2020, 10/14/20, 11/11/20, and stamped 11/11/20 plans, and any additional revisions needed to conform to the conditions contained herein, the VCN special permit. 2, architectural plans by SDA consisting of a cover dated 10/8/2020, sheet A201, partition plan floor 1 dated 10/8/20, A202 petition plan floor 2 dated 10/8/20, A203 roof plan with ghost plan below, typical dated 10/8/20, A203 roof plan,
Yep, sorry.
sorry, plan, typical dated 10/8/20, A301, elevations dated 10/8/20, A302, elevations dated 10/8/20, A401, building sections dated 8/6/20, 3, architectural received 8/31/20 for Public Realm Improvement Plan by Grady Consulting LLC dated 10/14/20 with letter dated 9/2 from Galvin and Galvin describing the public benefit, cost estimate, etc. Stormwater revised date 14/20. 6, operation and maintenance plan received 11/24, and any additional revisions needed to conform to the conditions contained therein. Building elevations must be approved by the town planner prior to issuance of a building permit for conformance to submitted material. 2, where the site plan review and VCN special permit requires approval permitting a licensing from any local, state, or federal agency, such required approval permitting a licensing is deemed a condition of the Town of Scituate Planning Board's, the Planning Board or the Board approval of the site plan review and VCN special permit, including but not limited to approval of work by the Board of Selectmen and Department of Public Works, DPW, in all public rights of way, including Ford Place. Construction shall meet all applicable federal, state, and local laws and regulations, including but not limited to those of the Scituate DPW, Fire Department, Building Department, Board of Health, Planning Board, as well as the Massachusetts DEP and State Building Code. All necessary permits and approvals must be received prior to construction. 3, construction shall meet all requirements of the Scituate zoning bylaw. All conditions of approval shall be inscribed on the site plan review and VCN special permit plans. 4, the applicant shall mean the current applicant and all its successors in interest. This special permit shall lapse within 2 years, which shall not include such time required to pursue or await the determination of an appeal under General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 17, from the grant thereof, if a substantial use thereof has not sooner commenced except for good cause, or in the case of a special permit for construction, if construction has not begun by such date except for good cause. The planning board may extend its said period for good cause shown upon receiving a written request from the applicant prior to the expiration of said period, which request shall provide a detailed description of the good cause necessitating an extension. A public hearing may be required. 5, the total number of residential dwelling units on the site shall not exceed 5. All units will be 2-bedroom units. There will be no affordable units. The total number of bedrooms shall not exceed 10. A bedroom shall be defined in accordance with Title V of the State Sanitary Code. Massachusetts Architectural Access Board, MAAB, requirements must be met. All units will be under condominium ownership. 6, the applicant shall obtain the plan endorsement of the planning board for a site plan review and VCN special permit within 90 days of the expiration of the appeal period and this decision becoming final. 7, the following items are to be submitted or added to the plans prior to endorsement. Additional detail on grading, including spot grades and drainage for the shared driveway easement area to show pavement pitch of 1%. The landscape plan shall be stamped by a landscape architect. 8, no vehicle washing is to occur on site. 9, the units on the new building shall be numbered on the outside for identification, fire protection, and emergency response purposes. Patty, do you want to do utilities?
Utilities, parking, traffic, and street improvements. 10, maintenance and repair of the driveway and parking areas, stormwater management system, snow removal, lighting, and landscaping shall be the responsibility of the applicant until a condominium association is formed and responsibility for the same has been transferred to the condominium association. 11, all parking is limited to the designated spaces as shown on the plan. 12, the 20-foot wide access driveway at the rear of the building shall be marked as a fire lane on the ground to discourage vehicles from obstructing access to the building or to any neighboring structures south of the building. 13, the 20-foot wide access driveway to the rear of the building of McDonald Terrace is approved entirely on the applicant's property. If a shared driveway is desired, a revised plan must be submitted with the common driveway easement shown on a separate plan to be recorded along with grading and drainage and an easement document provided. 14, no new underground irrigation system shall be allowed to connect to the town's water distribution system or in any manner use municipal water in accordance with the policy made effective by the Board of Selectmen on October 8, 2014, and reaffirmed by the Scituate Water Commissioners on May 26, 2015. All irrigation systems installed in accordance with the policy must be supplied by on-site sources or private water suppliers at the expense of the property owner. 15, the applicant shall consent to allow members and town officials of the planning board and other persons acting under the authority of the planning board as its agents to enter upon any lands and carry out such surveys and inspections as may be deemed necessary, and place and maintain monuments and marks. The applicant shall cooperate with the planning board and town officials and assist them in their efforts to verify that the layout, design, and construction work in the special permit plan are satisfactory and conform to the town's specifications and the requirements of the planning board. 16, an independent inspector contracted or employed through the town shall perform the required construction inspections according to section 9.0 of the subdivision regulations. All required inspections shall take place and be inspected by the inspector, including water and sanitary sewage facilities. The inspector shall be approved by the town planner and the DPW and shall work under the direction of the town planner. Written reports shall be submitted to the applicant and the planning board in a timely manner, stating the results of any and all required inspections during construction unless more frequent reports are needed. Noise, dust, and air quality control shall be in accordance with DEP regulations. 17, construction of the proposed driveways, walkways, patio, and parking areas, the proposed drainage system, the proposed water system, and proposed sewer system shall be supervised by a registered professional engineer. The said supervising engineer shall certify in writing to the planning board and DPW at the completion that the proposed driveways, walkways, patio and parking areas, drainage system, water system, and sewer system were constructed in accordance with the approved plans and that said systems are functioning in full accordance with the approved design. The certification of the proposed driveways, walkways, patio, parking areas, and utilities shall be accompanied by as-built plans, signed and stamped by a professional land surveyor and the supervising registered professional engineer. Prior to issuance of an occupancy permit for any building, a registered professional engineer shall inspect the exterior of each building as necessary and certify to the planning board and the building commissioner with his signature and stamp on an as-built plan that the grading and stormwater management system conforms to that shown on the multifamily development special permit and are functioning in accordance with the design requirements, and any variation in grade is immaterial and does not materially alter the performance of the stormwater system. The site development as-built, including building structures, topography, roadways, water, sewer, gas, cable, fiber optic, electrical, and storm drainage infrastructure will be submitted in AutoCAD format 2013 or higher, or an ESRI interchange format registered to the Massachusetts State Plane, the Manlake coordinates. North American datum of 1983 compatible with the town system, along with stamped and signed copies of the said plans. 18, all materials for utility construction shall be DPW construction standards. 19, a street opening permit will be required for each individual utility connection. 20, a determination of adequacy of the existing water service and the fire flow for the proposed use shall be provided by the applicant to the DPW and the town planner for their approval prior to scheduling a pre-construction conference. Installation of all water mains appurtenances, I can never say that word, shall be performed according to the specifications of the DPW. Any required upgrades, modifications, or connections shall be at the applicant's expense.
I'll pick it up at 21, Patty. The applicant shall obtain all necessary approvals for the use of town sewer prior to scheduling the pre-construction conference and any construction commencing. Any required upgrades, modifications, or connections shall be at the applicant's expense. Installation of all sewer mains and appurtenances shall be performed according to the specifications of the DPW Sewer Division. Copies of all necessary approvals shall be furnished to the town planner by the applicant. 22, all replacement of or connection to town sewer, drainage, and the installation of water mains and appurtenances shall be performed according to the specifications of the Scituate DPW with an independent inspector contracted or employed by the town to review the construction activity and ensure compliance with the town's rules and regulations. DPW personnel must be in attendance for any sewer, drainage, and water infrastructure and appurtenance work in the town rights of way and on the project site. In addition, the following must be addressed to the satisfaction of the town sewer division prior to the commencement of construction. A, newly constructed manholes shall be furnished with watertight covers and frames bolted down with a gasket. B, newly constructed manhole structures shall be vacuum tested, paid for by the applicant. The test must also be witnessed by the sewer division and/or the town's approved independent inspector. C, newly constructed sewer lines must be pressure tested in accordance with town test standards, and the test must be witnessed by the sewer division and/or by the town's approved independent inspector. D, a street opening permit for the sewer line shall be obtained. Police details, if required for traffic management and safety, shall be provided through the Scituate Police Department and shall be the responsibility of the contractor. E, sewer permits are required for the building. Any building with a sewer unit that hasn't received a betterment will owe a $16,000 connection fee per sewer unit. F, external cleanouts and viewports. Each building line shall have an external cleanout. 8, the privately constructed sewer infrastructure will be owned and shall be maintained at all times by the applicant. The sewer line and the property line is owned by the property owner. 23, the building, parking, walkways, and required signage shall meet all applicable requirements of the ADA, MAAB, and Scituate Commission on Disabilities, if applicable. 24, the applicant shall ensure that signs, landscaping, and other features located within the site triangle areas of the project site driveways and this intersection of Ford Place and McDonald Terrace are designed, installed, and maintained so as not to impede lines of sight 2.5 feet in height. 25, all signs and pavement markings to be installed shall conform to the applicable specifications on the Manual on Uniform Traffic Control Devices, MUTCD. All pavement markings in the public way shall be thermoplastic. 26, the applicant shall ensure that the property manager promptly removes snow windrows located within the site triangle areas of the project site driveway intersections with Ford Place and McDonald Terrace that exceed 3.5 feet in height or that would otherwise inhibit sight lines. Sight lines must be included in the plan set submit for endorsement by the planning board. 27, no snow storage is proposed on site. Snow will be removed from the site in compliance with all federal, state, and local laws by the applicant and then by the condominium association. The applicant shall ensure all maintenance personnel are informed of this. McDonald Terrace is a private way. The applicant is responsible for making sure the private way is plowed so there is access to the site. 28, trash management shall be in the dumpster enclosures located and shown on the site plan. All dumpster enclosure locations shall allow for easy movement of trucks with minimal pedestrian conflicts. 29, all electrical, telephone, cable, and similar utilities shall be located underground. 30, except for the town-owned segments of the sewer and water line from the property line outward, all utilities, including the stormwater drainage system, shall be maintained by the applicant according to the operation and maintenance manual for the stormwater drainage system dated 10/14/2020 by Grady Consulting Engineer. Erosion control, Patty.
31, erosion control information has been provided. The construction sequencing must be on the plan prior to endorsement. If there is not adequate parking on site for construction vehicles, the applicant shall provide legal off-site parking that is not street parking. The environmental conditions, noise, and dust. 32, site noise level shall conform to the Mass DEP's Division of Air Quality Control's noise policy. A baseline condition shall be taken and submitted to the town planner prior to the commencement of any construction activities. 33, the applicant shall follow all regulations under the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection 310 CMR 7.00, the Air Pollution Control 7.01 general regulations to prevent air pollution, and 310 CMR 7.09U, dust, odor, construction, and demolition. Per 310 CMR 7.09, dust, odor, construction, and demolition, water must be used to prevent excessive emission of particulate matter throughout the construction project. The landscaping, site amenities, and the public realm improvement. 34, the applicant shall obtain the approval of the planning board for any material changes to the proposed plans. The town planner or the board's inspector shall have the right to approve minor changes or deviations from the approved plans and/or any details needed for lighting, signage, paving materials, fencing, or landscaping. Material selection shall be provided to the town planner for review for conformance to approved plans prior to installation. 35, a separate sign permit shall be required from the building department for any freestanding signs unless otherwise exempted under the zoning bylaws. Signs shall be fully located on the applicant's property and shall not block sight lines for traffic entry egress from the site. 36, a density bonus of 3 units has been requested.
Patty, go to or.
Oh, okay. A density bonus of 3 units has been requested. The planning board may approve this additional density by special permit if the applicant provides benefits to the residents of the project in the VCN district. Finding number 8 indicates that the applicant has agreed to provide a contribution of $25,000 to fund traffic and pedestrian improvements in the greater Greenbush area. The applicant shall provide such funds to the town prior to commencement of construction. The fund shall be placed in an interest-bearing account with the expenditure of funds for this said purpose approved by the town administrator after consultation with the town planner, the director of planning and development, the DPW director, and approval of the planning board, all of whom must concur. Additionally, the applicant has agreed to grade the entrance to the path at the park owned by the town of Scituate adjacent to Dunkin' Donuts so that the drop to the path is eliminated and the path is more handicapped accessible. The architecture and design. 37, the building shall be constructed in accordance with the architectural elevations and plans submitted for the project. The quality of materials, construction, and colors shall not substantially deviate from those as shown on the elevations and discussed during the public hearing without the review and approval of the planning board. 38, the final building plan stamped by a registered architect shall be provided to the planning department prior to scheduling pre-construction conference for review for consistency with the elevations and renderings described in condition 1. If the plans appear inconsistent, approval by the planning board will be required. These plans shall include data on the roof gutter collection system. In 39, the building sprinkler system should consist of a dry or antifreeze sprinkler zone capable of covering the full area of the parking under what is shown in the plan as unit number 5. Care will need to be taken in the design of the sprinkler system to ensure that the fire department has clear access to the fire department connection, the FDC, the fire alarm control panel, FACP, and the sprinkler room. 40, a certification shall be provided by the architect prior to a certificate of occupancy that the building as constructed is in substantial compliance with the approved plans.
Okay, I'll pick up required prior to scheduling the pre-construction conference. 41, the applicant has provided and town council has already approved draft condominium trust documents and master deed to include the proposed owners of the units in the residential building. The condominium master deed and trust documents in their final form shall include a statement that the driveway, parking areas, walkways, patio, drainage system, sewer, landscaping, and other common areas shall be owned by the applicant or future unit owners organization herein after the condominium association, and shall be maintained by the applicant and condominium association, and shall not be the responsibility of the town to maintain. The driveway, walkways, patio, drainage system, landscaping, lighting, storm, water, leaching system, and other common areas shall be inspected, maintained, and repaired by the applicant or the condominium association. This shall also be stated in a note added to the plans prior to endorsement. B, a requirement 1, maintenance of the drainage system, parking, driveways, walkways, and landscaping shall be in accordance with the operation and maintenance plan approved by the planning board's consulting engineer. 2, provisions for snow removal and maintenance of safe conditions through the winter of all vehicle and pedestrian ways has been provided. And 3, a description of the required annual maintenance and of the driveway and parking areas, walkways, landscaping, lighting, and other common amenities. C, a table of the number and general location of parking spaces assigned to each unit. D, the operation and maintenance plan shall be provided to the planning board as a standalone document. C, a requirement that the applicant completes the construction of all the units and the units receive final occupancy certificates. The condominium association shall maintain an account always containing a reserve equal to 1 year's cost of maintenance. A contractor's estimate of this maintenance and proof of the available funds in the account shall be provided to the planning board with the agreement and annually on January 31 of every year. F, a requirement of the condominium association notify the planning board of the name, address, phone number, and email of the trustees within 14 days, calendar days of their election, and to provide an annual report of the maintenance activities to the planning office by January 31 of every year. 42, prior to scheduling the pre-construction conference, the applicant shall provide to the planning board A, copies of the recorded special permanent plans, B, a check to cover cost of inspections by the town's consulting engineer. These shall include, at a minimum, inspections of subdivision rules and regulations, section 9.0 for the driveway, parking areas, walks, patios, stormwater management systems, water systems, municipal sewer connection, and sanitary sewerage line, new curbing and erosion and dust control measures, as well as any specific requirements contained herein which may require review and/or inspection by the town. The specific amount shall be provided by the planning department based on the consulting engineer's estimate, shall be subject to amendment from time to time, and shall be supplemented by the applicant as requested by the planning department. C, a construction schedule, including appropriate dates for installation of erosion control and other site protection, stabilization, construction of building, and all applicable items in subdivision rules and regulations, section 9.0. And D, if work is required by the planning board, a type and amount of security provided by the applicant reasonably satisfactory to the planning board to cover the satisfactory completion of off-site infrastructure improvements on any town property, including the park adjacent to Dunkin' Donuts on Driftway, which is the public realm. We want to eliminate that?
Yeah, I think you don't need that anymore.
We don't need that, okay. All right, take that out. A separature, no, we don't need that either. The amount shall be based on the applicant, that just is gone.
Yep.
C, E, a type and amount of security provided by the applicant reasonably satisfactory to the planning board to cover satisfactory completion of site infrastructure features shown on the site plan, including landscaping, parking, drainage, signs, lighting, and related conditions imposed by the board. The amount shall be based on the applicant's contractor's estimate of costs of these items, reviewed by the town's consulting engineer, and shall be approved by the planning board prior to pre-construction conference. Patty?
Required prior to the start of construction. 43, within 2 calendar weeks prior to the applicant's notification to the town planner that it intends to commence any work on the project site, a pre-construction conference shall be held with the applicant, their representatives, their engineer, the site contractor, the town planner, the town engineer, and other DPW representatives as necessary, the police department, the planning board's consulting engineer, and other representatives of the town as the board feels are necessary. A list of all contractor contacts, including names and telephone numbers, shall be provided to the planning board, DPW, and the police department, and at least one telephone contact shall be available 24 hours per day in the event of an emergency. 44, the property lines of the subject property shall be marked or flagged in the field under the direction of a surveyor and notification given to the town planner and the consulting engineer a minimum of 3 business days prior to the start of construction. The property line shall be staked or pinned at all times during construction. 45, a stabilized construction entrance and silt fence or sock must be installed prior to any earth-disturbing activities on the site, including but not limited to the clearing and grubbing. Construction fencing shall be required as necessary to comply with federal, state, and local laws. And required during construction. 46, construction work shall not begin prior to 7 a.m. on weekdays and 8 a.m. on Saturday, and shall cease no later than 7 p.m. No construction shall take place on Sundays or legal state or federal holidays. 47, the board reserves the right to require the consulting engineer to visit the site weekly or as often as necessary during construction to observe and report on matters within the scope of the planning board's authority. 48, all earth-moving disturbance operations shall only occur while erosion and sedimentation control measures are in place and approved by the town planner or the town's consulting engineer. Such control measures shall remain in place until the board's consulting engineer determines, after consultation with the town planner, that the danger of erosion or sedimentation no longer exists. It is the applicant's affirmative responsibility to ensure the maintenance and management of all stormwater control measures at all times during construction to ensure that there are no increases in stormwater flow velocity or volume to abutting properties at any time. 49, construction activities on the site shall conform to the town of Scituate general bylaws. And 50, any parking or unloading on Ford Place or McDonald Terrace associated with construction shall not obstruct safe passage of these streets other than on a temporary basis. The applicant shall contact the Scituate Police Department in advance of any parking or unloading greater than 15 minutes or otherwise impeding safe passage shall be approved in advance and controlled at the same time by the police department. Construction vehicles shall use the designated construction access. 51, the applicant shall notify the Scituate Police Department 48 hours in advance of any significant equipment and construction material arrival to the site, which may cause a safety hazard or material disruption of the public way such that a police detail is necessary to ensure a safe passage. Any police detail required is at the expense of the applicant and is required when the police department determines it is necessary. 52, the applicant shall not allow any large construction equipment or trucks to stage or idle on the public roads and shall not allow such equipment or trucks to idle on site prior to 7 a.m. Police details may be required for construction access or work within the layout of Ford Place or McDonald Terrace. 53, the applicant shall provide the town with the routes construction traffic will use so that if a safety hazard or material disruption of the public way impedes safe passage, a police detail would be obtained by the applicant at its expense. 54, construction activities shall be conducted in a workmanlike manner at all times. Blowing dust or debris shall be controlled by the applicant through stabilization, wetting down, or other proper storage and disposal methods. 55, no use of hydrants on site or on adjacent roads off-site is allowed for construction use. A hydrant is available at the water treatment plant for construction use during non-water ban times. 56, in an effort to reduce the noise levels, the applicant shall keep all equipment that emanates sound from the structure or site in proper working order through regular maintenance.
Okay, I'll pick it up with required prior to issuance of occupancy permits. 57, no certificate of occupancy shall be issued until the planning board and building commissioner are satisfied that the driveway, parking areas, walkways, and patio, and installation of necessary utilities is in full compliance with the approved plans and the special permit. 58, prior to application for a certificate of occupancy, a copy of the contract for inspections and maintenance of the stormwater system per operation and maintenance plan shall be provided to the planning office. 59, following review and approval by the planning board, the condominium master deed and condominium association documents shall be recorded at the registry of deeds prior to the building department's issuance of any occupancy permits. Proof of recording must be provided to the planning board. 60, the off-site public realm improvements.
I think we can take this out.
Nix that, okay. Administration. 61, Karen, you'll renumber these
I'll
correctly?
renumber, right, yeah.
Okay. All time periods referenced in this document for completion and conditions shall be told in case any appeals are taken. 62, the special permit shall run with the land and shall be void if it is not recorded at the registry of deeds within 120 days of expiration of the appeal period or such extension of that time period granted by the planning board following approval of the special permit. The applicant shall provide proof that the special permit was recorded to the planning board. 63, the planning board may, in its discretion, waive or modify conditions of the special permit at a duly called meeting of the board if the board determines that such waiver or modification is insignificant and does not materially adversely affect the purpose of the special permit decision. 64, the special permit shall lapse within 2 years from the date of its issuance unless substantial use or construction has commenced prior to that time in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 40A, Section 9. 65, all plan sheets of site plan review and VCN special permit shall be recorded at the Registry of Deeds. 66, all construction work shall be done in accordance with the plans. That was the last one. Whoa. Okay, so are there any changes or corrections? I have one. Required during construction, number 46, shall cease no later than 7 p.m. or dusk.
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Okay?
I have a number that just as we
Wait a
went
minute.
through, we might want to
Hey,
address.
hold- Hang
Can
on,
we go
Steve.
back to what you just said, or dusk? Whichever is, or dusk, whichever is earlier?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, Steve?
So under item 1, little item 4, I guess,
What
IV,
page?
whatever page this, 11.
All right.
I think that little item 4 we don't need anymore. IV.
Which one don't we need anymore?
The reference to the public realm improvement plan.
What number?
It's IV under item number 1, right?
Okay, yep, got it. Take that out.
Okay. In that same condition, I repeated something twice, any additional revisions, so I'll take out the first one on that.
Okay. Then under item number 10, if anybody has anything before that, just stop. But item number 10, I think that just needs to be the condominium association at the end of the sentence should be capital C, capital A.
Okay.
Under item 13, it feels like, I'm not sure what we're trying to say in that first sentence. The 20-foot wide driveway to the rear of the building of McDonald's Terrace is approved entirely. Should this say like the 20-foot wide access driveway located entirely on the applicant's property to the rear of the building is approved? It seems like an awkward sort of structure there.
It's a preposition of words.
How about instead of to, say at the rear of the building of McDonald Terrace?
Yep.
Okay.
And then I was down to 22. And this may be just something I don't know that we may have had these conditions before, but I just sort of picked this up. It says, in addition, the following must be addressed to the satisfaction of the town sewer division prior to the commencement of construction. And then the first three items seem to be talking about newly constructed manholes, newly constructed manhole structures, newly constructed sewer lines.
All right, so why don't we just take
So-
out prior to commencement of construction?
Well, you might still want that as a qualifier. And so what I was thinking is confirmation, and I don't know how we get that confirmation, but item A could be confirmation that newly constructed manholes, et cetera. Confirmation, right? Confirmation that newly constructed sewer lines will be pressure tested. Because I think you want a lot of this stuff prior to commencement of construction.
Okay.
So maybe this is just giving the DPW confirmation that these will be watertight, right? So I think that's all.
Okay.
I think that would cover it. Yeah. Number 27. I would say no snow storage is allowed on site, not proposed.
Can we go to a 26 right above that?
Sure.
Sight lines must be included in the plan set submitted for endorsement by the planning board. They are on the plan, so we can take that one sentence out.
Okay. That's good. Let's see. So, and then I got to 36, the segment that we read, that applies to 25,000.
Yep.
It feels like the sentence sort of in the middle there that begins, the funds shall be placed in an interest-bearing account. Oh, never mind. I think you've got it covered there. All right, let me go on. 39. I think we should drop the reference to antifreeze sprinkler zone
That's what the fire chief
or
wanted.
antifreeze.
That's,
Well, it's saying the parking area under Unit 5. I don't think we want an antifreeze system there, right? Because if it goes off, it's going to end up on the ground, right?
but I copied that condition right from the fire chief.
Okay, well,
I don't think that means actually antifreeze. I think it means like something that just won't freeze. It's not like literally an antifreeze.
It's just
well, a dry pipe system won't freeze, right? But Antifreeze generally means like a glycol-based system or something like that, right?
Well, there won't be antifreeze used to put out the fire. That's water. It's antifreeze in the initial section of line, so where it's exposed, so it doesn't freeze. Once it goes off, water will be pumped. It's not like there'll be storage of antifreeze in the system. It'll just be enough to keep the heads from freezing. They also do dry heads now. So whatever system goes in there will have to be approved by the fire department anyway. So,
okay. I'm just, if there's antifreeze in the piping system and it goes off, then it's going to come out the pipe. So that's all I'm saying.
Do you want to take out the word antifreeze?
Why don't I just
Well, that
double
was up.
confirm with the fire department before I file it?
Yeah, well, if they have a different language in there that better represents something, we just want to make sure that we're not going to end up with the antifreeze, in the space, basically. If the sprinkler head goes off.
it's just like 6 inches of antifreeze in the pipe. The rest is all watered, so the head doesn't freeze when it's exposed. So it's not an antifreeze system, if I can. But there is. I mean, that's what we use all over the country in cold areas.
Outside?
Yes, any parking garage outside.
Okay.
So the
As
head.
long as the fire chief is okay with it. It just seems like I just want to make sure we're not dumping, nasty stuff on the ground here.
All right, Steve, what else do you have?
Just on 42, it's just, I think, structure. There's a list of things, A, B, C, and at C, it's semicolon and it seems like it just should be, or it's and, D, seems like it should be a semicolon to strike out the and the and is a semicolon after item D, because E is the last item. And I think it's just sentence structure there. Let's see. I think that's everything. Oh, one other 52. We included a notation: police details may be required for construction access or work within the layout of Ford Place or McDonald Terrace. So is that saying that on their site we may have police details on the construction site?
Or work within the roadway. If they're going to block the roadway, then they may need.
Well, that's addressed in the first sentence, right? This says within the layout of Ford Place.
Right.
Is that the street in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, okay. I got you.
All right. Okay.
This is the street. This is the street then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was thinking this was on their site.
No.
No.
My mistake there. Yeah, that's everything I had.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Okay, I move to close the public hearing.
You have to
What?
vote.
You have to vote.
Wait,
Yep.
You didn't vote.
all right, there's a motion as amended. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Ms. Burbine,
Aye.
Ms. Lambert,
Aye.
Mr. Bornstein,
Aye.
Mr. Pritchard,
Aye.
Ms. Lewis,
Aye.
unanimous, all in favor. Thank you.
Okay, I move to close the public hearing.
Second,
Second.
All in favor?
Ms. Burbine,
Aye.
Mr. Pritchard,
Aye.
Mr. Bornstein,
Aye.
Lambert,
Aye.
Ms. Lewis,
Aye.
unanimous, all in favor. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for all your time and attention to this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Good
Many
luck.
of you are co-hosts. Please leave the meeting and don't end the meeting as we still have some things on for the agenda this evening.
All right, we have a discussion, a recommendation for 61A sale of lot number 16 to 143 Border Street. Karen, would you like to address that?
I think I gave you a draft motion there,
Yeah.
and this is the house that's the Bleaky house, and they want to take it out of 61A with the sale. It's already got the house on it. It's 6 acres. I don't really see that the town needs to purchase it. So you would just do a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen, who has to act on a 61A piece.
This is that much larger parcel of property? Isn't it larger than 6 acres?
No, the house piece is only 6 acres. It's not, there's still an additional, quite a big chunk of land on the same side of the road. So that's not what they're asking to take out of 61A.
Is this a developable 6 acres,
It's already got,
subdividable?
it's already got a house on it.
So they're
But could
just
it
taking
be
the 6
subdivided?
acres out of 61A, just
I
that
don't-
6 acres?
Right, just the 6 acres with the house on it. It's got a common driveway going to it. I don't really see how you can do much more dividing of that one piece of land.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. So it's not something that's going to end up being a 20 or 30 unit subdivision then.
No, not on this, not
Okay.
piece. But there still is another piece that they have not, another bigger piece on that side of the road that they have to, that's still in 61A.
Right. So
Right.
we still have the opportunity as a town to purchase it if it ever goes up, right?
It's up. It's up for
Is it?
sale. Oh, yeah. Both
The
sides of the street.
61 acres?
No, not 61 acres. 61A is just taking it out of farmland, right?
Right. I don't recall, I don't have the file right in front of me. I don't recall how many acres it
Like
is.
14 or something, 17.
Yeah, and that hasn't been before us. The piece next door previously was lot 15, is staying in 61A. Then the little triangle piece that was taken out of 61A and sold to the neighbor.
Okay. All right, anything further from the board?
Is this all on the riverfront? All this property is on the river, not the road, right?
There's properties both on the riverfront and the road, but this is on the riverfront.
That's what I'm asking, okay.
Correct, Karen?
Yeah, the existing house is on the river side, yes.
Not Mrs. Blake's original house, okay.
All right. I move to recommend to the select board that the town decline to exercise its rights under Mass General Laws, Chapter 61A, to purchase 143 Border Street. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Ms. Burbine?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis?
What was that?
Ms. Lewis?
We can't hear you. Yeah.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
Ms. Lambert,
Yes.
Mr. Pritchard,
Yes.
Mr. Bornstein.
Aye.
Thank you. Unanimous, all in favor.
Okay, liaison reports. Does anybody have anything?
Nope.
I was in another charter review committee meeting.
How
We're getting-
exciting.
It's so exciting. We got through another page.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent.
The most controversial item at town meeting, I think, had to do with the gender neutral, he, she, they, them, select board, etc. That took the longest time of all of it at town meeting. It was very interesting. Okay, does anybody have anything else?
Master plan draft comments are due by December 11th next week. So if you have any written comments or anything you'd want to submit before they go to the first round of revisions, just try to get it in before then.
Okay.
Ben, you were able to get those that I sent you finally?
Yeah, I think Sherry
Okay.
was able to set it up through Dropbox so we could access it. So should be all set
Okay.
now. Thanks.
Okay.
And I know they got my comments because she told me she had received them, so.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Planning and development? Karen?
So we're meeting again next Thursday night. We have a busy agenda. You'll have to vote on the housing production plan. We have a public hearing for 4852 New Driftway. Why do I think there's something else?
6 McDonald Terrace.
6 McDonald Terrace is on that for a special permit modification. So it's a busy night. I will try to get all the stuff out to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else from anybody? Okay,
Nope.
I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
So moved.
Ms. Burbine,
Yes.
Mr. Pritchard,
Yes.
Mr. Bornstein,
Yes.
Ms. Lampert,
Yes.
Ms. Lewis.
One.
I didn't hear Ms. Lewis. I'm assuming she says yes. Oh, yes. I see her say
Yep.
yes. Okay, thumbs up. We are adjourned.
Thank you, people.